Well, that's gonna put a crimp on Joseph talking to Byron, and Byron does want to explain himself to Joseph, but
Marcus is angry.
I think Joseph is too, just at Byron. So hey, everyone's mad. It's cool.
I'm not.
Byron, you're probably pretty amused at this point, I would guess.
Byron, at this point, I'm about one conversation away from suggesting that you guys get a spokesman as well as a mercenary.
Nah, our budget can't afford that.
Not denying that you need one, just saying that the budget can't afford it.
Well, Byron will explain his actions if given a chance, but it looks like, yeah, there's an argument going on, so I guess he'll just sit in there. He'll tell Jermaine, take us back to the hidey hole, I guess. He doesn't know where else to go.
There's no argument. Marcus is talking at him.
Yeah, this is important to interact. Marcus is upset.
Can you not be a plebeian for like 5 minutes and let someone actually enjoy something?
Plebeian.
Dude, this is in character talk. This is important.
I know.
Once we're back in the car, then I'll acknowledge Marcus's rant. Once we're back in the car and he's had a little bit to go, Marcus, we have something to do right now. Something very important to do right now. I understand your painting was beautiful. I understand. But we have something very, very important to do that will involve us not dying.
Oh, now he's talking down to you, talking slow like you're a child.
I'm not talking down. I'm just reassuring him that what I did is best.
Unlife? What is unlife or life even worth it if you don't enjoy it? You only live once.
Well.
No, we live twice. But putting that aside, we will live longer if we do not die.
Can't believe you fucking busted out a YOLO, you bastard.
Dude, this is the original YOLO. This is 1998 YOLO.
Well, would you like to enjoy your painting a few more times, or would you rather just enjoy it once and then die later? Because if you enjoy it now, there's a pretty good chance that we die later. The way I'm having it, you'll enjoy it a lot longer.
And now he's patronizing you.
But I want to say, look, how about we just get this done and we can all come back and you can tell us about that in depth when we're all safe.
You're not being sincere.
No, actually, Byron is. He's fine, but he said, no, really, I will come with you. I would love to hear your take on it. Just not right this second.
Byron is being sincere with that?
Well, no, but I mean, he will do it if
you need to bluff Marcus now.
You want me to make a roll on it?
Yeah, I sure do want to have you make a roll on that. Manipulation plus subterfuge at difficulty 6 versus some sort of perceptive type thing, I'm sure.
Perception plus alertness. I don't know if I can break those cuffs.
No, it's perception plus. Isn't there an empathy skill?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be perception plus empathy.
He got 4 successes. The most I can get is 3.
I actually got 5 because the 10 is doubled.
Well, there you go. Clearly he's being sincere, Marcus.
Fine.
But he doesn't have to like it.
Saying this, as an aside, Byron, as a coterie, we really should work together. And next time you throw me under the bus, I'm putting a stake through your heart and leaving you out in the sun.
Byron's going to look at I said, yes, Joseph, I expected that. But take this whole thing to its conclusion. They were not buying why the Sabbat was coming after us at all. Even if you were to successfully bluff them about Leslie Cutter, it would have come up eventually. That's the logical conclusion. Now they have us going after Leslie Cutter. If they ever meet and talk to her, they're most certainly it's certainly going to come up that she had asked us to kill her. And so it's better that they hear it from us than they hear it from some other person, in my opinion.
Byron, I'm not concerned with them knowing that she wanted to die. Obviously, I would have talked her out of that. I'm concerned with them knowing she was a thin blood. Knowing that we knew that she was a thin blood. I would have very much preferred to have things stacked in our favor rather than stacked against us.
Again, I would say they would have figured it out eventually.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that we're supposed to be working together.
And we were, because I tried to defuse the situation, which I was pretty sure they knew that something was up. And they were going to continue questioning on that till you gave in. And it's best to stop compounding lying when that comes up, in my experience.
Byron, throwing me under the bus is not working together. No matter your intentions and no matter what it accomplishes. When we work together, we need to work together.
I never threw you under the bus. I never said it was only your decision. I only said that she was a thin blood, and I said we. I didn't say you. I didn't say he. So we are all in this. I did not throw you under the bus. If you want to talk about throwing under the bus, I threw me under the bus just as much as you.
I don't think I'll have anything more to say about that.
Yep. Well, Byron is fine because from his point of view, he just saved a lot of problems down the road. Whether that's the truth or not, who knows? But he's playing the outcomes, and he just says, you don't keep these things under your head.
Joseph wears a hat?
Occasionally, I'm sure. Once or twice, maybe. He has a special hat for that occasion.
He has a hoodie on.
There you go.
He has a hat just for occasions where you're supposed to wear a hat. It's his hatting hat.
Does it get to be a top hat?
No. You're a priest, man. Have some dignity.
Okay, one of those spinning propeller hats it is. I'm a Malkavian, too.
Just because you're a Malkavian doesn't mean you're that crazy.
Okay, that said...
Why is the car not moving?
I don't think we have... I don't think we have anything more to say, so Jermaine, if you could drive?
Well, where's he driving?
Yeah, seriously.
Into the sunrise.
No sunrise. Except for Byron.
You see, Jermaine would be fine.
No, I wouldn't. I haven't been paid yet.
You got your blood. That's all that matters, right?
No!
Alright, well you kids decide on what destination you'd like Jermaine to drive to. We're gonna go ahead and take a 5-minute break.
That's enough time for me to make food. Which is good because I actually haven't eaten today.
Well, there you go. And I'll go ahead and not step away for the time being. I'll look at the chat. And, Twitch chat, do you have any questions thus far that I might be able to answer? Questions pertaining to the session. What generation is Sheriff? You don't know. Vampires don't go about their everyday lives revealing how many steps they are from Cain.
That opens you up to either diablerie or domination or both.
Could I share if, let's see, Arakash asks, could you share if they saw through Joseph's lie, or would that give too much away? I thought I made it pretty clear, with, the actions that, both the sheriff and the Archon took, particularly with the wolfish grin that the sheriff gave, that, they, were not purchasing what, Joseph was vending at the old shop. Cobrag asks, how much do you enjoy playing the Sheriff? He is my favorite character of yours in the game so far. Well, I've only roleplayed him twice. I still end up getting a feel for all these characters as, I haven't worn their skin for very long, and it's difficult for me to do, as I told the players, actual realistic modern accents as opposed to, say, fantasy accents. So what I end up doing is, like, alternating between, like, a gruff voice with, like, that's, husky and deep, and then, a more normal voice. But of course there's some particular circumstances, such as, hello everyone, welcome to the middleman, stuff like that. So, Black Pearl Gamer asks, is it the sheriff's fault that Sabat got into the Camarillo territory? Is it the coterie's fault they ended up in their domain? Not the sheriff's fault. This is New York City metropolitan area. There are lots of ways to get inside the city. People gonna be coming into the city. It's just that, their movements, particularly those of Kindred, tend to be tracked fairly well. Now, to the extent of whether there might have actually been Sabat who entered the city before Chapter 1, the coterie went to investigate, they don't know. All they ended up finding really was Leslie Cutter. But Sabat can certainly get into the city. It's just a question of how skilled they might be at hiding from the Camarilla, who will undoubtedly come after them. As asking a vampire their generation is like asking a D&D character their alignment, dumb and futile. I mean, the sheriff appoints the ghouls and such, correct? Sheriff doesn't appoint ghouls.
Actually, generation is something that can actually be discussed. In a lot of D&D games, alignment is non-mechanical abstraction. It's just they don't discuss it.
Right.
Yeah, I do want to note one thing, that what Byron told the sheriff, whether or not he bought it is, he's going to do a check, because I only got one success, if that. So, that's going to come back, and I'll let you all know out of character that, Byron's sire is about, like 700 years old. She's a Habsburg from Lorraine, so...
I just wanted to be known, by the way, how well the players did with walking into loaded questions or outright volunteering information to the non-player characters.
Marcus knows to keep his mouth shut unless asked.
It's like being asked a yes or no question in court and then just talking for 15 minutes.
The only thing I walked into was the whole question of the whole question about the anarchs, and that was he was giving into it to buy himself try to buy himself a pass out. When I walked into that one, it was intentional. I was hoping to get it in the direction I wanted to go.
Person 42 asks, earlier during the first session I recall the question being raised about the chances of mages being encountered, and you said it was unlikely. Has the stance changed at all? No! This is the 6th chapter of the first Vampire the Masquerade game I've ever storytold. The shit's not getting more complicated than what it already will be. And it's already fucking complicated. I'm not incorporating elements from other games. Are there mages in the universe? Sure. How rare are they? Really damn rare. If the party actually met at one, would it be a bad thing? Yes. They change reality and fashion trends. I don't think the vampires can handle that.
Consensus reality is a bitch.
The change in reality can understand. The fashion trend's a little bit harder to keep up with.
They're the ones who designed the awesome swoosh mark that Nike has. Yes, Dexy says, I like that you're trying to get everyone to roleplay their actions more, and I think it's starting to get into their characters a lot more. Yeah, I'm not going to let them skate out so easily with, I just give the sheriff a summary, as well as the Archon of a brief interlude of our actions. Like, well, what do you tell them?
It's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Right, it's important to know, like, if the characters were just able to escape with stuff like that, you know, they wouldn't have a fair say of what exactly they told the NPCs, and I wouldn't have anything to have the NPCs play off of. Such as whenever... Yeah.
My old gaming group was a D&D only group. The plot was just a reason to connect battles, so it's a little hard for me to remember to stay in character, although I enjoy it. It's just difficult for me to remember.
There's no such thing as I suppose an elder neonate. The more proper term for that would be like an ancille, or an ancille. As for how things get defined in the modern generation, your ancille would probably be around the 11th, 10th, and 9th generations. Elder tenuously starts at 8 and goes beyond that.
What generation is not really used to decide if someone's an elder or not. It's how old they are.
Well, it's not even how old they are. It's more about how I guess how much experience they have, how deeply they're ingrained in the community, and how much power they can exert. Someone could have been around for a very long time and been a neonate that entire time.
Right. They're very fluid terms.
Right. We certainly wouldn't go around describing and saying that Byron Rand is an elder, even though he has an 8th generation mark. He might still be a fledgling.
Definitely when it comes to Camarilla, he's kind of a fledgling now.
No, Cobrag. Generation does not improve through experience points or through time. Generation is constant. There are a few ways by which one can improve his generation. In the Camarilla, that's a bad thing.
You gotta eat someone's soul.
In almost all cases, you have to eat someone's soul. Not only is that very difficult to do, eating another vampire's soul, but it carries some drawbacks.
I mean, let's just go back to like what 2 sessions ago when Marcus almost ate David.
No. And no, your descriptor rank doesn't necessarily improve while you gain experience points either. This isn't like Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, which would make you a fucking Methuselah if you got enough experience points. Your importance in society is determined by how well you do in that society and the steps you take to be better in that society. Oh, hell, I got a phone call. You folks can keep answering questions or whatever. I'm going to leave the recording on just in case you talk. Yes, discuss your plans and what you want to do whenever I resume.
I'm thinking of, like, in this upcoming day, chartering a boat so that tomorrow night we can head to Staten Island and try and deal with the Anarchs.
That's probably the best idea.
do we even have an idea of where we need to go once we get there? I mean, we probably know a roundabout way to get to where the Baron is, maybe.
Oh, there's only really one person in the group who might have even the slightest idea of that.
Byron didn't make him mad or anything, I don't think.
Make Joseph mad? No, not at all. Not at all possible. He's not planning how to get you staked and left out onto that boat on accident.
Vampires be crazy, yo.
He's a little annoyed.
Yeah, but imagine Byron was annoyed at the time when you kind of just let her go. I mean, it's without asking anyone. So.
Vampires are fucking cray-cray.
That's definitely.
That's so
very
cray-cray.
much odds. Very
David
much
cray-cray
Byron's very solidly ivory tower at the moment, while Joseph's very solidly anarch. They're the exact opposite of the spectrum at the moment.
So subtle.
Oh God, not again.
Aaron, you have a question in the chat room.
Oh shit, let me look at it. I'm only barely paying attention, and this is the first time I've even remotely paid attention to the chat.
Question is, weren't you planning on bumping Valentine's off and seizing his territory?
My priorities sure got turned around fast after I got staked. No, I was not planning on doing that to Valentine. But I was, as David, who is, currently unconscious and pretty much a corpse in the church, planning on supporting Carter Vanderwayten against Valentine when it came to, becoming prince.
And on the 40th day, he did rise. Like Jesus.
Oh no, it's going to be a lot bloodier than Jesus. And
like a ugly, bloody Jesus. Yep, I just made David out to be Jesus.
That was an interesting thing to come back to.
Well, I mean, they are both Jewish.
I didn't know David Green was Jewish. He never told anyone.
You mean with a name like David Green?
That seems rather rude to just be determining someone's religious beliefs or cultural heritage based on their name.
Unless his
it
last
seems
name was...
rude to determine someone's cultural heritage based on names that are from certain ethnic and religious groups.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, let's just be honest here. At least his last name wasn't Cohen, then it would have been obvious.
Would it have been better if it was David Greenbergstein?
Greenberg-Steinowitz?
Greenberg-Steinowitz. Motherfucker. Alright. So, what is the coterie doing with Jermaine at the wheel?
I believe we are going back to Astoria, and we're probably going to get prepared to go deal with the Anarchs tomorrow night.
Okay.
And by get prepared, you look to charter a boat, if at all possible.
I'm planning on chartering the boat, in this upcoming day, when businesses are actually open. Because it's nighttime. And there's a Knicks game.
You're going to charter a boat?
Yeah, rent it for an evening.
Okay.
I mean, how else would you suggest getting to Staten Island?
I'm not going to suggest anything. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you're doing.
If anything, it gives us mobility along the coastline.
I mean, we can't take the ferry, because the ferry's not open.
I'm not looking to get anything big either, just something with an outboard motor. And, at least 4 people of seating capacity.
There is the Verrazano Narrows Bridge that connects from Brooklyn to Staten Island. You could take that.
Yeah, but who knows what's on the bridge?
Who knows indeed. And of course you could always hook in through New Jersey to get to Staten Island.
Oh yeah, no, that's an even better idea.
Yeah, that seems this way. That said, I don't know how much water traffic would actually be in New York.
A fuck ton.
Okay, I don't know about this kind of stuff. I don't know how regulated any of that stuff is or anything.
Barely. As long as you're not in shipping lane.
Where you plan on going to charter this boat? Like, where would be, like, your starting point at? Because you obviously don't have, like, say, a harbor. Like the Kindred don't.
Fuck, let me check. Probably somewhere down south of JFK.
Maybe down in Brooklyn?
That said, do we still have any cash left? Like did we spend any major cash?
Well, there was a major cash, a few $1,000s that ended up going towards Matt's because he had what you needed.
It's got what you need.
Of course, the $80 that have gone towards you buying a hoodie, and it's worth noting that the business is it's gonna be losing a resource dot. It kind of got blown up.
Repeatedly.
Right, until we get it back up and running again properly. I mean, Jermaine could always rent it himself. It's just, going to go on the bill.
And there's going to be somewhat more money to go around since David's not going to be able to collect still. It's just that there's going to be less money overall from the real estate agency because even with the reimbursement, you're still dealing with a situation where, alright, so the building wasn't bombed, but it still had a gas leak. Regardless of whether it's fair, people are going to unfortunately associate that with the business. And the employees are going to be a little skittish coming back.
Well, I mean, we could change the name like ValueJet did after their plane crashed in the Everglades.
You certainly could if you'd like. You just, then you'd have to give me a real and genuine name instead of having me come up with something.
Telstar Real Estate.
Yeah, the randiest.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get that back. We'll figure out some. But for now, we have a job to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jermaine drives back to Astoria while you are bantering and perhaps arguing with each other like a husband and wife with Marcus the pouting child in the back. Could everyone make a perception plus alertness at difficulty 6 jack for me blocks?
4 successes.
It's like you had that prepared or something. 1 success from Byron. 3 from Jermaine, and 1 from Joseph, factoring in all the ones. Okay. Marcus, and to a lesser extent, but just Marcus notices it more. Streets continue to remain packed and busy, this late Tuesday night here. It's about, it's approaching 10:40, 10:50 by the time you manage to make it back within the realm of Astoria. Where would you all like to go now once you're here?
What is the time?
10:40, 10:50, like I had said less than a minute ago.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I get it. You're busy. Banning Cobrak.
I'm still sorry.
No. We'll say 10:43.
Well, I don't know. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I think that several people need to feed, and Byron wouldn't mind topping off if we're going to go into Anarch territory tomorrow, so that might be constructive.
I wouldn't mind getting a sandwich.
Ooh, a nice Reuben.
I don't know, whatever.
Reuben?
Ronan.
Whoa.
Joseph has probably personal issues to attend to with his church.
I expect so.
Certainly so. Investigation into that. Well, Joseph Cheung is a fair and upstanding member of the community, and although it just seems weird that, two vehicles of his have recently had bad things happen to them, despite the fact that there were some witnesses, Joseph certainly wasn't spotted among them, and he can begin the slow and laborious process of reclaiming that spent money.
Yeah, I think Marcus is going to feed while Joseph does his thing.
Okay. Well, you have the one vehicle here, although I presume that Joseph still has his. Well, no. The only other vehicle you have at your storage is like that Dante's car, just a few blocks from your Astoria hideaway.
Jermaine, could you give me a lift?
Yes.
Okay. Jermaine is gonna drop Marcus off at his haven, or somewhere around there, if Marcus is worried. Byron, are you gonna stay in the car and head to Flushing?
Nope, he's going to try to feed as well, while he'll let Joseph do his thing.
Okay. And Jermaine delivers Joseph to Flushing for the night, before he heads off to find a sandwich. Okay. Marcus, Byron, how do you two plan on going about this whole finding someone to eat?
Well, Byron is... Oh, you go ahead. I have to look
You go first. Anyway. Mine's simple. I just go to bars and look for drunk people.
Yeah, well, Byron does a similar thing. The drunk doesn't matter, but he's just going to hit up girls and probably, convince them or dominate them into the bathroom and have a tryst with them and then come back out. Do that for 3 feedings.
All right, that ends up being seduction attempts for both of you. Being your domain, the difficulty is significantly reduced. This is a busier than normal night, as lots of folks are out in a boot. What was it that I ended up having you guys do?
I believe it was something plus subterfuge for seduction.
Could be. What?
So wait, are there like a bunch of Canadians here for the next game or something?
Oh, don't you know? Absolutely.
That
was Swedish.
They're Swedish Canadians. You have a problem with that?
Yeah, no. Good job, Grimith.
Someone misplaced Canada again.
I think in the solo session you had me roll appearance plus subterfuge.
It could be that. It could be like charisma plus subterfuge. It could be something like that. For Marcus, it's a difficulty of fucking nothing, and for Byron, it's a difficulty of 3. Marcus automatically succeeds.
Okay, so we're doing charisma plus subterfuge.
Sure.
I mean, manipulation is better off for him, but I don't know that it matters.
You're trying to impress these women, not manipulate them.
I'm trying to manipulate them into the bathroom. Most of seduction is manipulation. Goodness grief. But I don't really care. Man, I'm trying to find the right window. Too many tabs.
You're trying to make an impactful, presence of your personality upon attractive women or attractive men.
Oh, I don't even care. I mean, I was just giving you the devil's advocate thing. I just rolled that.
That's fine. I'll keep blame. I'll keep pussyfooting with you, sure. All right. That's 1 feeding. For you, how many blood points would you like to take?
All of them.
2.
Yeah. All right, before we handle Marcus, let's let Byron do his little itty-bitty feedings. 1. Keep going from hour to hour. You can do it. That's another, and that's another. Okay,
I'm full.
You win. Marcus, you're actually not hungry because you have to have below your, below that 7 minus self-control value.
Oh, okay.
So if you had less than 4, you'd be fine. But beyond that, yeah, because it's an automatic success for you, due to your domain and the fame, you can go up to full. Just fine.
Hell yeah.
Well, I will have you roll just one 1d10 one time. Alright, everything's fine. Joseph?
The first thing I'd like to do is check on David's corpse. Make sure he didn't get anything happen to him.
He's still fine. He's not staked because that was removed. He's twitching a little bit in whatever agony that he's devised for himself in his.
It's all corpsey. Yeah.
You kind of corpsey to begin with.
But he certainly still exists. That's a thing.
Well, as long as he exists, don't really care. That said, oh, sorry, give me a moment. I'd like to tell my retainers to, I'm not sure how likely they are to attack the church again. I don't think too likely, and I hope we'll be dealing with them soon enough that they can continue to operate. So I want them to be continue operating the church, sort of days as usual, and I'd like to get in contact with a couple of my herd.
Okie dokie. Done and done.
Okay, so for sanguinarianism, I rolled just my current willpower, right?
Let me check the exact wording to make sure. Whenever a vampire... No, you can roll your permanent willpower value. Whenever a vampire this derangement feeds on a mortal, a willpower roll is needed, for difficulty 6. Oof. Well, the first time you fed, you got your 2 blood points. That second time, though, looks like a failure to me.
Damn it. Well, at least nothing's planned for the night.
Alright, so, perhaps you your derangement is such that your brain was weakened by the as you were tormented by the memories of the person whose soul you partly consumed. A nervous first date, being elected valedictorian of high school, cuddling a teddy bear while mommy and daddy fight. And then you get to the second person of your herd, and with the 9 and the 1 there, things just don't quite work out, as ends up being a sort of a boil of angry rage rises within Joseph, and the blood he ends up consuming from that second person immediately goes into strength, as he as slowly, because he can only spend 1 blood point per turn, as he begins screaming and ranting and raving all sorts of horrific things. Hatred towards the herd, against Craig, who is now proceeding to try to contain the suddenly much stronger Joseph. Things work out. But you don't get the 2 blood points you consumed from the second person. Just the 2 from the first.
Well, at least I didn't go crazy with the first one.
Yeah. With your 3 strength, you are significantly stronger, and your hatred, your victim ends up just having you just spend the entire night and rest of the morning she is part of your herd, so it's not as bad as it could be if you ended up feeding on a stranger. It might have a greater reaction than you just remaining content here in a horrible safe room. But your voice becomes very much hoarse, and your body is considerably sore, just from the constant exertions that you end up taking over the course of the night into the sunrise. What will Jermaine be doing for the night, and spilling over into the day, Aaron?
Well, he's going to get his sandwich. He's going to check in by phone after a few hours to make sure that everything's going okay with everyone. And after that, he's going to get some rest, head out during the day to go charter a boat, kind of snoop around a bit more to see all what's happening with O'Malley real estate, and then get some more sleep so that he's fresh for the night.
Okay. Alright, ends up being daytime. Where does Jermaine wish to attempt to charter the boat from? Like, what would be like the starting point? Of course, I'm sure you would know better than anyone here. There's a lot of potential places where you could charter a boat.
Pretty much any port.
Yeah.
There's docks goddamn everywhere. It's an island city.
Right.
I don't know, somewhere to the south Brooklyn, South Queens, something like that.
Okay. I just wanted to check to see how far you wanted to head away from the domain of the vampires who contracted you, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably for the best that we start there. Otherwise, we've got to go through a much longer path to get there. And cars are a little bit safer than boats. Or at least they feel that way to me.
Okay, so we'll say you end up chartering a boat from Breezy Point. How much does a boat charter for an entire night? Like a speedboat or something? What exactly is...
Oh, fuck. I don't know, maybe a couple $100.
Yeah, alright, that's fine. That's what I would have figured anyway. That ends up being what it is for Jermaine's tab that he has for the Kindred. But it certainly is a possibility for him to contract a boat. Although it's interesting as he finishes the transaction. It's also another clear, beautiful sky, or at least it was whenever he was at Breezy Point. But as he's beginning the process of heading all the way up, back towards Astoria, wherever else he plans on going for the day, almost seems as if the sky ends up getting a bit darker. And actually, as he's continuing to travel the road, it does. It begins to rain. And it rains pretty fucking hard. And the wind picks up.
Well, that's a great start to the day.
So what was a clear, crisp morning ends up turning into a rather drudgy, slightly above freezing, so it's just bitterly cold rain. As for what happens with it, oh, go ahead.
At least I can enjoy the sun.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I mean, certainly, despite the heavy cloud cover, these weak vampires who have hired you would certainly still explode into ash and cinders outside. But it wouldn't be as bad. It wouldn't deal as much damage, that sun. If only they had fortitude. At any rate, things with O'Malley Real Estate have mostly, given what you suspected, news attention has considerably died down. And instead it focuses on how the Knicks won a very close game in triple overtime against the hated Miami Heat on the shoulders of their superstar center, Paul Early, who got a triple-double, including 24 rebounds.
Fuck yeah, go Knicks.
As for that, everything ends up passing uneventfully. Then night rises on this Wednesday night, and as the vampires awaken, they each lose a point of blood from their blood pools. Beyond that, though, you're all free and clear to do whatever. Joseph, progress on the whole getting your insurance money back might take a little bit longer than just a few days. You still haven't gotten the money back from the van that got stolen and was ditched at the Muncie Hudson Expediting and Storage Complex. It's gonna take quite a bit of time. Marcus.
Using the phone.
Yep. Yeah, Marcus and Byron. Yep. Sorry. Everything's fine. You wake up. Nothing bad is happening. Which might in itself be bad. Except for the heavy rain outside. There's still heavy raining, and there's quite a bit of winds sweeping through the Big Apple, which is curious because you were pretty sure this wasn't fucking Chicago.
God damn it, I'm actually probably going to have to wear a jacket tonight.
It's not so cold that it's snowing, or that the rainwater is turning to ice, but if we're saying it's hovering just a few degrees above freezing.
That means the jacket would be more to keep you dry than warm. Especially since you don't really have body heat anyway.
Yeah, I guess it might be possible just to get one of those cheap rain slick things. I don't know, you've seen them. Just those thin things you can get at like carnivals and stuff. If we're going to still use the boat, which might be, I mean, it shouldn't be that bad because it's a short distance, but it's going to be bumpy. Yes, go rag poncho is what the word I was looking for.
Let's do this.
Alright, so Byron ends up waking up first, and then Marcus and Joseph wake up a little bit later. How are you all planning on organizing yourselves for meeting for heading to Breezy Point? Because Jermaine hasn't exactly even told you where he chartered the boat yet, or even that he was successful in chartering it.
Well, I'm hoping.
I guess Byron will ask.
You guys gonna just like call or something?
Yeah. Where did we end up staying? Did we go back to our havens, or did we go? I mean, I guess if you dropped us off there, we just went back to our havens.
Yeah, that's the indication that I got. Certainly, you guys could have taken the pains to go back to the temporary hideaway, but none of you ever did.
We can go with that. It just never came up, so I didn't. I was actually debating it, but it was glossed over. We'll just say we went back to the haven. That might not be a smart move, but
It happened.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I guess I'll call him up and see how his day went. Call Jermaine up, that is.
All right, well, he'll explain that he's got a boat chartered and that he'll come by to pick you up whenever you're ready.
All right, I guess I'll just tell him just come on over here, and I'll give the other two a call in 45 minutes or an hour or so when I think they might be up. Or wait for their call from me, or whatever.
Because that's who they want to call first, Byron.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's going to want to talk to me. That's the whole thing. I mean, he can leave a message with Craig, but yeah, Byron will just say he'll meet meet him at like the corner of 31st and 31st or something. He'll meet him at the car there.
It's corner of 31st and 31st.
It's close to my haven.
Wow.
It's not exactly at my haven.
Is that what you're sensitive about? You all slept together. Not like in the same bed, but you all shared the same haven for a few days.
No, it was all the same bed. It was
I still don't
really
want to let
big
it be
dead bed.
known, but yeah.
I'll give Jermaine a call and ask him to pick up.
I will do that. And I mean, everyone knows where Marcus lives.
How does everyone know where I live?
How does everyone know where you live?
But you actually don't.
A phone book listing. That was the problem.
So Marcus, what do you plan on doing once you wake up? As all of the vampires lose a point of blood from their blood pools, if I haven't said
I'm
that
gonna call
already.
Jermaine with my phone and say, "What's the 411?"
Well, I've rented a boat, and I can come pick you up whenever you're ready.
Better yet, where are we meeting?
Where the boat is, you mean?
Where's the boat? Yeah.
I give you the address.
So, all the way down in Breezy Point, which is still a part of Queens, although it'd be quicker for you to go through Brooklyn to get to there.
Okay, pick me up at the corner of some street and some street. I don't know the streets in Astoria.
31st and 31st.
I don't want him to pick me up right in front of my haven.
Yeah, 31st and 31st is a major intersection from what I can tell. So. It's where a metro station is. Come on.
Just the concept that the same designations would have ended up being used on those streets.
Yeah, just pick me up at there. Oh. God damn it, it's raining. I'm gonna have to put like a jacket on or something.
It's worth noting, but by the way, Aaron, you're going to have to drive more cautiously for sure. To go with normal speed for the vehicle, you're going to have to start making some dexterity plus drive checks.
I'm willing to drive cautiously unless they want me to hurry up.
Right. I just want to make note that with such heavy rain as it goes to the streets, although there are many sewage drains for the rain to be dispersed down below, but it's really hard.
Right.
Okay then, Jermaine, you're in your vehicle. You start off in Astoria. Who gets to be picked up first?
Probably Byron, since he woke up first and probably contacted him first. After that, probably Marcus, since he's close.
Right.
And after that, Joseph.
Okay. It definitely does take a considerable amount of time to as you wait for the other two vampires to awaken, and then drive along to get Joseph and Flushing. Along the way, as you end up piloting this vehicle out here, could you give me, just you, Jermaine, a perception plus alertness at difficulty 6?
Well, I mean, I could.
You can fail it if you want. You only have to do is say, I failed.
I mean, intentionally failing a check means you don't have to risk a botch, right?
I suppose you could consider it that way, right?
God.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I failed it.
You failed with 2 10s and 3 1s. It's man, it is fucking raining out here. All right.
And this is why I said, intentionally failing means no risk botches, right?
But you didn't botch because you did roll successes with those 2 10s.
But I got 3 fucking 1s.
You did get 3 1s. That is an event that transpired, certainly. Okay. It takes a lot of time. By the time you actually get into Flushing, the rain still has not let up. And as you end up heading along the interstate, 678 to get to Flushing there, you're looking out on the river there, East River, as it terminates into the northern parts of Queens. And sure enough, waves are pretty fucking rocky out there. They are not gently undulating at all. But regardless, all 4 of you organize and end up meeting up, and feel free to talk and interact with each other.
When if we manage to pass by any place where I can get a good look at people, I want to look for someone's face to copy.
You're gonna have a really hard time copying someone's face from inside this vehicle with how heavy it's raining out here. There's practically no one traveling on the streets.
No, just whenever I'm not worried about it doing it at any particular time. Just whenever I first get a chance to notice people on the street once we get out of the car.
Okay. So all the way down there in Breezy Point, gotcha. So how do you all interact with each other as you drag water into Jermaine's car? And what does Jermaine tell the coterie? And, what does the coterie ask Jermaine? And what do they talk to each other about?
Try not to get mud on the fucking floor.
Too late. I've never actually seen it rain this hard. Well, I have. It's just...
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's New York. It's on the ocean. They get pretty bad storms there. Okay.
Like the storm just sort of came out of nowhere.
If we could stop worrying about the storm and just drive.
I drive.
Okay. Jermaine drives. It's pretty slow going, although good news is that there's not too much traffic out on this Wednesday night. But it's just that the roads are so slick with water that Jermaine simply does not want to hydroplane. Traveling along as you exit out onto the actual Rockaway Peninsula, almost some of your characters might get a little nervous seeing all of the water that ends up rocking along with you guys as you head on down through Edgemere and Somerville and RVing to Seaside, heading for Breezy Point. Certainly seems a lot of the harbors as well as potential tourist destinations actually end up being closed for the time being. The lights are very dim to see, but it's obvious that anyone who wants to attempt recreational boat traffic is, well, they're not going to be doing with someone who, might drive the boat for them.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
That being said, eventually Jermaine ends up reaching Breezy Point. By this time, you're actually looking at 11:15 p.m. by the time you get here.
Okay.
And it turns out the place you charter this boat, some sort of stupid, sleazy, named the contract, boats. You can insert your own amusing boat chartering name here if you want, Aaron.
Water Dragon Boat Chartering.
Water Dragon Boat Chartering it is. As it turns out,
happens to have, a circular dragon as its logo.
We'll see more of a an S-shaped serpent. But yeah, it's the lights, are on like lampposts or street lights or whatever, but it's pretty hard to see. As you've gotten much further away from the city, there's certainly no foot traffic around here at all. Matter of fact, this place appears to be closed down for business. At least for the night.
Did I get the key during the day?
You sure did.
Well, then let's get going.
Byron well, I'm already dead. Let's go.
That's optimistic.
That's the spirit. I want to make sure that we pack it full of pretty much everything we could possibly need, like everything out of the trunk.
My curiosity was whether you guys, when you visited your havens, brought anything else with you when you headed for the car. You guys never mentioned anything, despite me, asking and prompting for stuff. But I figure, I'll go ahead and check.
Oh, I'm just taking my usual carried gear.
Right. It's more for the kindred who have their vampiric havens with stuff.
I believe my shotgun's still in his trunk, and I said I'm carrying unless we're going in somewhere where I can't, I'm carrying my pistol with me. In the car, every time I get into a car.
Okay. I just wanted to check to see if there was something beyond, like, what your usual might be carrying.
I'm debating whether or not Byron puts on the vest under his shirt or not.
It's certainly going to stick out, and it'll make dexterity-based rolls harder for him to do.
Yeah, I just don't know if he wants to antagonize. He probably won't do it. I think he won't bring anything along. He'll just bring his pistol and knife and flashlight like he usually does.
You don't want to wear bulky torso items when you have a potential for falling out of the boat and into the water?
Not so much. I don't know if Byron would have thought that far ahead, but if he does end up meeting anarchs of some sort, he doesn't want to look like he's going to fight them. He doesn't want to antagonize them, so...
Yeah.
Jordan. You gonna be bringing anything along? Okay.
Most of the stuff he's basically he left most of his weapons in Jermaine's trunk. He's gonna have to remind himself to get those out when Jermaine actually, is no longer needed.
Dun dun dun. Come on. Was that was I the only one that sounded foreboding too?
Cricket. Cricket.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. That's standard OP for vampires.
It's like a hard sell, man. It's a hard sell. Tough crowd out tonight.
That make sure that everything's packed up in the boat. That's what it's called.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Back in the water car.
Quickly drive the water car towards our destination.
All right.
Post-haste.
Verily, sir.
Those boats do have computer chips in them, so Byron might be a little confused.
All right.
What?
You go ahead and do so. It's a simple enough boat. It's currently residing there, and of course it's slick on the interior as for one, it's out in the ocean, and two, you've had water from all this fucking rain. It's wet. Won't be comfortable, but it's certainly doable. And the wind is certainly not stopping, which it's kind of making it a little bit difficult to see as you're out here quickly carrying your equipment to the boat from Jermaine's car.
Now that we're in the boat, I'd like to turn to the rest of the coterie and ask, so what exactly are our plans?
You're the one with anarch connections.
Byron's going to say, find Leslie Cutter, give her to the sheriff.
Murder everyone.
Really? I mean, Marcus...
No, that's out of character. That's out of character.
I mean, Joseph asked a serious in-character question, so, you know, if the characters wish to respond to him...
I think Byron has the right idea. We at this point are skating on thin ice with the sheriff, so we have to do what he says.
Didn't look like you were skating on thin ice with Theo Bell. Maybe it's just how the sheriff is with everyone.
Well, that all said, I have barely any more connection to the Anarchs than you guys. As much as you seem to think I do, I don't. I don't know them, they don't know me. Which is not at all really a lie. He just wants to have connections to the Anarchs. He doesn't yet.
Right. Yeah, it's not a lie.
Jermaine, what do you have to say about this?
Nothing. I'm here for support.
Do you know anything about the Anarchs in New York? Have you ever worked for one, or do you know anything?
Have I ever worked for any Anarchs?
Nope.
No. I've mostly worked for the Camarilla.
Well, Joseph, when you got in touch with whomever you got in touch with, I don't even know if you told everyone who you gave Leslie Cutter to. How did you do that? How did you go about getting in touch with this person?
If I remember right, I asked Rain to ask around about some ghouls, and after she did that, Boss Callahan himself contacted me. Is that right? Am I remember that right?
Yeah, that sounds roughly right. Rain had put the word out for, Joseph Cheung there was interested, and your name was perhaps interesting enough for perhaps, Joseph's ties, or at least his political inclinations, despite it being, a dark secret for him, might have been known as such, or for whatever reason it ended up being, you actually attracted the attention of Boss Callahan, who gave her asylum. Basically, she would count as an anarch for the purposes. Like I told you before, it was done with no expectation of boon in mind. It was simply that he was allowing that she could come, not that you had to make her a payment. If any payment would be given, it would have been from her for this favor.
Right. So he contacted me. I guess I could see if I could go the other way and call that, but I doubt that would get us anywhere. And any connections anytime I've tried to make that contact backwards, I've gotten absolutely shit from it.
Right, and especially the way politics is working out with the Kindred, not going to be easy. Well, nobody knows where to begin. Byron's at a loss. He's like, well, we can go over there and start banging around, but they're probably going to figure out we're there before we figure out where they are, and so that might be bad news.
I'm just going to kind of reiterate my suggestion to maybe consider hiring an investigator one of these days.
That's what we're supposed to be needing the police for.
Yeah, but the police don't come down here.
Yeah, the 114th precinct in Astoria does not travel to Staten Island.
Yeah, I know that. Just, we have police paid off. We're supposed to get benefits out of that.
There are benefits. You know how pissed off Mikhail Vargas are.
Benefits like, not coming up in a criminal investigation when your business gets, bombed.
A domain security of 3, which makes it harder for other vampires to act while they're within your domain.
I mean, stuff.
Okay. But that said, I I don't think we have any contacts. Does any of us know where there's a lithium or anything like that nature down here?
Certainly you do. As I've told you before, whenever we were doing the character setting, there's the Garibaldi Mucci Museum, which is close to where the bridge is that leads from Brooklyn to Staten Island. That is a museum which has been converted into basically Anarch Asylum. Although it's described as a variation of the standard Kindred Elysium at Anarch Elysium. The standard Elysium rules apply, but only to Anarchs. Anarchs can meet there on neutral ground and be just fine, but any non-Anarchs who go there, bad things might happen to them. It sort of depends.
I'm not wanting us to show our faces at all, if at all possible. That said, as far as I know, Jermaine should be respected as a third party. Not so turning to him, asking him to see if it's possible to dig up anything there.
I'm not an investigator. I don't know how to do this kind of stuff. I'm here to drive you guys around, keep you safe, and shoot things.
Looks like we're gonna have to get our feet dirty.
Can we just burn down the whole island and hope she swims somewhere else?
Perhaps you would say you have to get your feet wet.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Nah.
And not dirty. Maybe we can combine the two and say muddy.
Either way, we're going to have to go there and do something because... Yeah.
Yeah, Byron is going to say, yeah, hiring an investigator sounds like a really good idea, but A, that'll take time that we may or may not have, and B, with what resources? We just had our business blown up. We're kind of running on fumes right now.
Well, the sheriff did say that you had some time. You didn't have to have this done immediately, but just it would have been be in your best interest, perhaps. But you guys are more than welcome. He's just a sheriff, not a big deal.
So I guess it's saying this. So I guess it's me that's sticking my head into the bee's nest.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Then I'd like to go somewhere nearby, as close as possible to, I don't know what you called it again, the Elysium.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're going to anchor it a little bit offshore. We don't exactly have a dock lined up.
I can swim.
And you're also not going to be able to line up things very well given the lack of visibility in the night
Right.
while it's heavily raining.
We are boating to Staten Island, anchoring the boat, and then swimming ashore. This is ostensibly enemy territory.
Yeah. And you're doing this from southern Queens, so you've got a bit of a trip ahead of you.
Right. I mean, we're going to be out here on the bay for an hour or two.
And this is with the fact that none of you ended up reviewing like a good close-up map of, all right, how could I best angle myself? You haven't decided on exact destination of where you wanted to line yourselves at up until now, while you're in the boat itself.
Oh yeah, my intention was just to, go to Staten Island, which you can see, right over there. But yeah,
It's just a criticism of, the player characters here, like, again, a situation where it's not going to be an easy thing simply because the plan just came up now in the boat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Byron's actually, he's starting to see Jermaine's point here about, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a tough crossing. Once we get there, he doesn't know what to do, and I don't know. I mean, I just don't know where to even begin, what to even tell an investigator to look for. That's the problem.
Well, we know that she was taken by the Anarchs, and we know the Anarchs live on Staten Island.
Right, but we're going to get an investigator to say, hey, look, there's vampires over there. Sometimes they have these, I mean, I don't know. That's where it all falls apart. What are we going to tell a mortal investigator to look for? I mean, I just don't know how we would find more information.
That's the thing. There's not a lot of options. It's really just have to stick our face in it and hope that in the process of someone chewing our face off that we learn something.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. We've already gotten in so much trouble. We may as well just get in a little more. There's the fun in not trying.
We can spark a war. It's just a small one.
Sure.
Okay, so just that. I mean, I'm going to be soaked wet and everything, but...
If you guys were actually pretty heavy on, just visiting Anarch Elysium, or I don't know exactly where it is you plan on going at this point, but I've reviewed a little Staten Island map for you all to the south west of the Brooklyn map. The bridge that goes across... shit, I forgot the name. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge. It goes from across there to the right tip there at Fort Wadsworth. That's where the bridge terminates, from Fort Hamilton to Fort Wadsworth. And as you can see, Anarch Elysium is on the other side of that bridge. So when you all sail up here, as you do through the ocean blue, or the bay, you're going to end up going, past numerous things and under the bridge. Or you can actually arrive anywhere you want on the coast. It's just the Garibaldi Mucci Museum is a bit inside of the northern part of Staten Island. Yeah.
And I think just going straight up here is the best bet. Just literally just going straight there. I mean, at this point we have very little idea what we're doing. So it's just hoping we get some information while bumbling around.
It's a much better plan. Probably one that would, not get us killed outright.
Yeah, I'm just debating whether, I mean, so why are we taking a boat now if we're just going to go to Elysium, or if he is just going to go? It's almost safer just to drive there. Jermaine can drive him. If he's going to use another face.
Well, I'll answer this question as the storyteller. This is something that Byron would know. You know that all the bridges are major thoroughfares between the islands of this island city that are being watched all the time by ghouls in one fashion or another. It's just that these bridges, that is, it leads into Staten Island, would just be watched by anarch ghouls.
Right, but that's what I meant. If Jermaine drives and Joseph picks another face, and then the rest of...
with
Marcus
infrared sensors.
Well, they know it's a vampire, but he could perhaps get back in there, then change his appearance again or something into...
Changing your appearance doesn't change the fact that you're vampires.
No, but you
doesn't
can
change my
you can
aura
mimic
either.
an anarch. I mean, that's the big problem, is you go in there and they recognize us as
What's
Camarilla,
an
right?
anarch doing coming in from Manhattan or Brooklyn?
That's just it. That's what I said. You come in there, they see the vampire. Now, maybe they tail you or something, but you might be able to obfuscate, get away, pick another party so they can't describe you. Then now you're just a vampire in Staten Island, so you're an anarch. And so maybe they don't know who you are, but if you're just in Elysium, you might be able to get away with it to get information. Anyway,
how's that better than just coming in on a boat at that point?
You don't get wet.
You don't get wet.
All that just to avoid getting wet.
Well, I'm just saying it seems to me that they both are about the same in terms of the end result, but one of them, you have to cross a bumpy, wavy sea where lots of things can go wrong. It's a short distance technically, but still can happen. Then you have to anchor the boat, get there. I mean, I don't know. Whatever, do what you want. I mean, Byron just shrugs. Like you said, he's already dead. It doesn't matter.
I'd rather fight the waves than try to trick infrared scanners.
But you wouldn't be tricking them, is what I'm
then
saying.
Then trick ghouls with infrared scanners.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I think...
I don't want to bank on the idea that the ghouls are going to go, oh, this guy must be an anarch.
No, I didn't say that. I said, okay, infrared scanners, they know he's not an anarch. Let's just assume that. They try to tail you into town. You let Joseph out of town.
What makes you think they would tail us? These guys are probably in semi-official positions. We'd have to blast through a checkpoint.
I know. That's why I'm saying you would turn right back around. You just drop them off and then leave or whatever, because you're not a vampire. So whatever, you just leave. And then he can obfuscate. So, I mean,
I'm not going to run a toll booth. They have cameras.
Yeah,
like I said, whatever. Byron didn't care. He was just.
I went ahead and provided a larger picture of like the greater New York City, particularly concerning like the sea lanes to give you a better idea. Your starting point, of course, is the Rockaway Peninsula over there below Queens, and you can recognize how that looks. And you're looking to go there around the curvature of Staten Island, which is over to the west. And you have a scale there down there at the bottom of how many miles / kilometers the trip will end up being.
How much distance from? How long is that bridge?
Well, you guys can certainly get under the bridge, but it's a major thoroughfare that's rather wide to allow a lot of traffic to come in from Staten Island to Brooklyn and vice versa.
I just meant, would it be possible just to drop Joseph off on the other side where he can't be seen by anyone? Then he can just walk across obfuscated, because ghouls aren't going to see that. I mean, how long is it? Like 5 miles or so to get to their Elysium? I just still think the boat is unnecessary. That's all.
Byron is saying this out loud, saying the boat is unnecessary while you're all on the boat, by the way.
The real point is I'm not going to run a checkpoint with cameras and toll booths and those little mechanical arms.
Right. That's why I said drop him off on the queen side of the bridge. You don't cross the bridge with your car.
The thing is, going that way, get someone tailing us immediately. We start off with someone tailing us. We start off with someone knowing that there is someone active.
If you don't cross the bridge.
And you think that they...
If we don't cross the bridge, how do we end up on the Staten Island?
In the car. As in, you take the car,
But you're saying to drop him off on the queen's side.
Obfuscated.
He would still show up on the infrared scanners, wouldn't he?
No, it wouldn't detect any body heat. He's dead.
Yeah, but that's also assuming that there's no ghouls with auspex up there, which almost certainly there would be at least
5 or 4 or whatever.
There's going to be like, in order for a ghoul to have a discipline that high, their Domitor would have to be an extremely powerful vampire. Far more powerful than, like, you're talking about, like, maybe Rambach Luthen's ghoul or something.
Well, in that case, the real question is...
Do their auspex actually have to meet my obfuscate?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Someone would have to have 4 dots of auspex to even have a chance of seeing you.
The real question at that point is, what does that get us? He's stuck over there without anyone to back him up, And he doesn't even get the, happiness of not getting wet because it's fucking raining for the entire walk across the bridge.
Yeah. Well, it won't be salt water, but I just... If we take a boat, we're going to stick out like a sore thumb if they can see us, which perhaps they can, perhaps they can't. But anyone traveling, we're going to be the only boat on the water probably.
Yep.
And then we got to get close enough to shore to see it. The shore can see us. I'm just like, if you're trying to be secretive at all, then taking the boat is probably the wrong move. However, if we just want to go there and not be secretive, we might as well just drive over the bridge and say hi. So I mean, Byron will do whatever.
I think you're dramatically overestimating how visible a 4-person boat in the middle of a rainstorm in the Hudson Bay is.
Yeah, I just want to take the quick aside here to interrupt. Sean, with obfuscate, if you're currently obfuscated and you're not doing anything to violate that, in order for someone to see you, they need to have as many dots in auspex or some other sensory type thing. They might have other supernatural powers, but for auspex, they need to have at least 4 dots in auspex to have a chance of noticing you.
I did not realize that. I must have misread that or entirely skipped that.
It's going to be extremely difficult for almost anyone, not just in the entire city, but most of the world itself, to have a chance of detecting you, so long as you're not making noise or do other things to, alert people.
Okay, then dropping me off on the boat, if it's me going over there, that said, anything Byron says, if it's me going over there, I'm most comfortable with taking a dive off a boat. And if it's me going over there, I think it's fair that it's me that decides how we get there.
All right. Whatever. Just know that if we're far enough offshore that they're not going to notice, there's going to be a current. It's going to be difficult, but Byron, if that's what you want to do, he's just going to say, sure.
They definitely have people watching on the bridge. We have no reason to think they've got people staring out off the shore.
Especially off every single point of the shore.
And especially with infrared scanners.
Well, infrared notices an absence of something, not a something.
In
terms of vampires. It's not going to see it. So
why would they have people sitting on the shore to point infrared scanners at us to notice that we're even vampires?
There's also what someone mentioned in the chat, which I will use, that we could just throw people in the trunk too, because infrared.
Really? You're now dipping into what the random yokels watching on the Twitch say in the chat.
I mean, if you want to do the boat, I just think me personally, having driven a boat and driving it at night, trying to do night stormy. Trying to do semi-precise things like anchor and dive off and swim. That's cool, man. I mean, if that's what you want to do, Byron's saying, sure, whatever.
The real point is having support. If we did the trunk method, that would still just be Jermaine and Joseph coming over.
Yeah, if it was that, I might have.
If you didn't want to come over at all, you could have stayed on shore.
Well, I don't remember saying Byron got in the boat to begin with, but it doesn't matter. If we're already
you're all in the boat. That's where this conversation is taking place now, in the boat.
I don't remember getting in, but anyway, it doesn't matter. If we're in the boat, just go. I was just bringing it up, and you wanted to make this big thing about it, but whatever.
Okay. Now that, hopefully, after all of this conversation, we are off the shore of Staten Island.
You're still there, in the harbor breezing point. The ship hasn't moved because you haven't decided on what you guys wanted to do.
Oh, well, then, towards off the shore of Staten Island.
Who's driving the boat?
I am.
Okay.
How much was your dice pool for driving?
Let's see. It is 5 with military reflexes if it applies, and I doubt it does.
It's worth noting that has Jermaine had any experience with piloting boats?
Yes.
Okay. So
he's got no clue with airplanes, though, so don't even ask.
Can I use the drive skill for airplanes, please?
Well, it makes more sense he's using the drive skill for a boat, but it's fine.
So the coterie, after much discussion and debate, ultimately decides that the boat that was chartered out seems like a reasonable idea to use to travel, and they begin setting sail from a breezy point there, heading for Staten Island. Trip is slow and arduous. It's very difficult to see very far, courtesy of the fact that there is sheets of heavy rain pouring onto the water. And the wind definitely is sweeping through pretty bad, which is causing waves even in this bay. As such, during the course of the travel, I would actually like for you to start with making a dexterity plus drive difficulty 7, military reflexes. You know what? I'm saying this is a tough, tense situation. I'll give you a bone here, Aaron. It applies.
All right, time for the botches. No botch.
No botch, 2 successes. Alright, it's not exactly like you can make the trip pleasant, but judging by your guesstimation of how things are going to look and where things go, you make some steady progress, and some time passes as you all are out in the water here. Sort of isolated, as it appears that, since it's night and it's heavily raining, there's not a whole lot of recreational boat traffic. What do you other characters do as this time passes? It's an hour. You're not exactly sure where you are. You think you're now somewhere below Brooklyn at this point.
Marcus is going to keep an eye out, Although he knows he can't see very much, he's going to, keep an eye out.
Heightened senses are going to be active?
Yes. I mean, the wind whipping is probably going to make hearing very hard.
How about, since this will be an all senses based, so no difficulty reduction for just sight. Perception plus alertness difficulty 6 for Marcus.
One success.
Alright, that's enough successes to perceive the very loud peal of thunder followed by the very bright, perhaps painful flash of lightning as it strikes somewhere in the ocean.
Ow.
Does he fall out the boat?
Nah, he's good.
I'm going to be a bit more careful from now on.
What does Byron and Joseph do?
User disconnected from your channel.
Well, for one, Joseph says, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Does he fall out the boat?
He is
User
back in.
was moved to your channel.
I was about to make your character fall off the boat, Sean.
Sean? Are you a ghost?
We've lost him, Jim.
Well, anyway, I'll just tell you, Byron is just going to take a seat wherever and just contemplate all the reasons why this is a bad idea.
Okay. So he's going to be pouty.
Not pouting, just kind of, I mean, he's kind of bemused. I mean, it's just kind of like, because he doesn't care. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, if we flip the boat, I mean, it's not like he can die. He just, he'll get a little wet. He's not, he'll be annoyed, but he's just kind of like, whatever.
His suit!
He's got
a dozen, so.
I was just wondering, my curiosity here, and I'm speaking, as a storyteller here, to you all, out of character. Like, if your characters had serious concerns about the validity of this idea, why you all didn't challenge it sooner instead of, alright, go ahead and charter a boat?
It was the best idea, in my opinion.
Well, it wasn't storming at that point. When we got there, I thought maybe the storm would die out as we were driving. This is actually what I was thinking when we were going there. And then when it became apparent we didn't know where the F we were going, that's when Byron's like, fuck this. But, Well,
my query then, Krypsyn, is, like, you personally didn't know where you or your character or the coterie was going, right? I was just wondering why you didn't bring it up until you all were on the boat.
I actually thought Joseph knew where to go. I mean, it was a bad assumption. In character and out of character, I thought he might know. And I thought we were just standing in the marina when we were talking, not on the boat. So.
I mean, you were on the boat, it was just in the harbor, it wasn't going anywhere. You were feeling the gentle rocking beneath your feet.
Oh, I thought out of character, everyone knew that I was complete as much as a loss as anyone else.
No, I really didn't know what your how you had contacted. I actually thought that you had, sent a message directly to a place or something. So you had like a drop-off point or something. I had just forgotten.
No, speaking as a storyteller, ultimately, Joseph doesn't know much about Staten Island despite his political leanings, since, he still identifies himself as, part of the Ivory Tower and not an anarch. That's why he wasn't swept up with all the other anarchs to Staten Island, and so obviously they don't very much recognize him as one, and he doesn't know much of anything about the locations there. All of you only know about the 2 locations there in terms of like main anarch hangouts. The Mucci Museum, the Garibaldi Mucci Museum, which serves as Anarch Elysium, as well as La Tourette Park, which is more for a party place. And much further inland, as you can see by the other glowing eye information dot. Yeah, and he doesn't know where Leslie Cutter ended up staying. He doesn't know if Leslie Cutter's even on the island. It's just the best lead.
Yeah,
So,
in the back of Byron's mind is also, it's like, man, we should just go in there and find someone, get someone's attention, get taken captive, whatever, and he'll just try to talk his way out of it and mention that, look, we need to know where Leslie is, the Sabat's involved, because even the anarchs have got to be concerned about that.
right. Byron is, of course, a little impatient, so it's certainly understandable he'd feel that way.
It sounds like you want to James Bond it. Get captured, talk your way out. Elaborate death plot.
Is Byron's character. I mean, he doesn't have combat. He's much better off, talking.
Boss Callahan is some over-the-top villain who just, throws you in some completely stupid and inordinately crazy, death chamber.
He has a ghouled up cat.
Yes. I rate sea bass with lasers. Ill-tempered sea bass with lasers.
At any rate, here we are in southern Brooklyn here, sailing in the ocean blue here to try to find a good spot to perhaps hang out and play Nintendo at Staten Island. Jermaine, you're piloting the boat. Go ahead and give me another Dexterity plus Drive at difficulty 7. Your specialty applies.
Incoming botch.
Nope.
That's 3 successes. All right.
4.
Alright, yeah, because you rolled a 10 there. Yeah, the trip suddenly becomes much smoother. Not that the rain is let up, but it's almost as if Jermaine had to have the past hour to play with the boat. He's like, alright, I got this. Describe how Jermaine expertly pilots the boat, through this raging rain and lightning.
Oh, no, he doesn't make it easier. He makes it flashier. We'll go on fucking boat surfing.
The boat suddenly picks up speed for all of you.
No, but in all seriousness, he'll probably do things like try to move with the crests instead of against them, that kind of thing.
Alright. See, another hour passes as you all are sort of waiting here on the boat, just waiting for whatever situation to occur. Rain is still very much continuing. It seems it is, Jermaine could certainly account. This started in the morning and it has not let up since. So it's been going for over 12 hours now, sort of 15 hours of just constant sheets of rain.
Man, fuck that.
But you do sidle up, and judging by the width and the dim lights off in the distance that would denote Brooklyn over there, you sort of reckon now that you can make your final approach here towards Staten Island, particularly since, there's the bridge. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge. You certainly have enough clearance in your tiny boat to get through. Since you've done so well, say in this case, we'll only require you to make one more dexterity plus drive, and we'll even have this at a difficulty 6, Aaron.
You just set me up for the eventual botch. The easier you make it, the worse it's going to be.
Because I made it easier, you didn't botch it. Two 1s and a 6 fails. The rest of the strip here, as soon as you cross into the bridge, apparently you hit a rough patch. Maybe it was all the speed you picked up with boat surfing, because suddenly the boat bounces a hell of a lot more. And more than just rainwater's coming in, as the ocean waves begin to just tip a little bit to the sides of the boat. It's not a big deal, right?
If you capsize this boat, I'm going to kill you.
What would Jermaine like to do as he realizes, this one might have gotten a little out of control for me right now?
Let's just, let's try and get this shit under control.
Alright. We'll go ahead and say you're wrestling around with it, but due to your previous success, you do have a handle on things. We'll go ahead and say that you get a little dangerous, but we'll say dexterity plus drive at difficulty 8.
Goodbye, guys.
No.
Nope.
So you did roll one that cancels up with the 9. There's some water now, which basically comes up to cover some ankles here, but the boat manages to stay ultimately upright. And as you end up reaching the northern, northeastern coast of Staten Island, around in this section, the waves start to get less and less edgy, although the rain is still very much coming down hard, and Jermaine has successfully carried you all through the power of technology over here. Where would you like to attempt to dock or land or even ditch the boat?
Did I have to put a deposit on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not ditching this. Though, I mean, it would go on the bill.
It would go on the bill.
So, I mean, I guess it's more up to you guys.
I'd rather keep the boat intact if possible.
Then, I'm gonna try and get up near the shore, relatively close to the bridge, since it's a good landmark. Like, not right under it or anything, just, so I can use it as a reference point.
You could beach the boat. That would not permanently damage it. You could also try to find a pier, which might damage the boat.
I was going to just kind of go, 40, 50 feet offshore and drop anchor.
Yeah, that'll work too.
Some athleticness is, I know, a great word there. Some athletic exertions might be required if you so wish to actually all swim in the water.
Wait a goddamn minute.
Wait, what?
No, I don't have celerity. Never mind. I was about to say I was missing a die on all of those rolls.
I am the
False alarm.
Well, if we're all getting off, Byron is going to almost insist that you beach the boat so he doesn't have to swim in his suit.
When did it become we're all getting off? I thought it was me.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
I thought originally everyone was going to go together. If you all are just sending Joseph out there alone to die, by all means, go for it.
I was planning on going with him.
Too. That's what I was saying.
I was planning on going with him.
Yeah, I thought he was going alone. He was going to take another face and try to hide. And that's what the whole leaving him off and letting him cross the bridge on his own.
Right, this gets back to the whole situation. If he was going on his own, he could have just crossed the bridge obfuscated and not really had a problem. It's just that you three would have been fucking useless.
To be honest, though, with the whole crossing the bridge obfuscated, I still would have preferred a boat as soon as it was brought up, because that way, with the crossing the bridge, who knows, there might be a vampire watching there, a very small neonate with some aspect. I'd still rather have taken the boat. So that said, this is still the way it would have gone, just would have been with Jermaine. But since we're all here, is it Byron or I forgot. Is it Byron or Marcus that has a point of drive that could possibly, hope to stay on the boat and, keep it with the anchor in the ground somewhere?
It's
Yes,
Marcus.
I do, but do you really want to go into a den of anarchs with only one other person in the group who can fight?
A den of anarchs and villainy.
Well, the other argument is, do you really think we would win a fight in a den of anarchy and villainy?
Yeah,
It's not about winning the fight. It's about surviving long enough to escape.
Yeah, that said, I think if we get into a fight, we're pretty much dead anyways.
Getting into a fight is bad news bears.
If we get into a fight, I'm just counting on Auspex to obfuscate to get me out of it. At which point, I'd probably be safest on my own.
Right.